Hello, we are at the Premier Vision in Paris. Beside me sits David Shah. David, can you introduce yourself to our viewers who don't know you?
That's quite a hard question, actually, because I don't even think my parents knew who I was. Basically, I'm a jack of all trades and master of none. And I've been in the fashion business since 1973, quite by accident, because I studied Latin and Greek at university, and I wanted to be an archaeologist. So don't ask me how I got here, but I absolutely love the world of textiles. I have textiles more than fashion. And so much is my love that I actually publish 4 to 6 magazines. I work as a consultant with a lot of big companies. I can't tell you who their names are. Not necessarily in fashion, but everything from cars to everything else. I'm a professor at a couple of universities, and I make a lot of clothes. And I make a lot of clothes out of China, especially menswear, some women's wear, basically for high street retail chain stores, private labels. So, as I said, jack of all trades and master of none. So let me take you through my products. The first one that I came up with was Textile View. And I launched this in 1988, and it became the Bible of the business. I'll talk about its relevance today because things have changed, of course. But basically, there are 2 issues per season, 4 issues per year, and it's talking about the mainstream of fashion. What are the fabrics you should buy? What are the colors you should buy? Everything else. And I want to stress that everybody who works in my magazines are not journalists. They are actually people who work in the business, work for big brands, etc. So this one is about the mainstream fashion, what you will find in the multiple retail stores. The second sister to that is View 2, and this is the one really beautiful, really fun. You can see the cover is very different. This is for jeans and sportswear, absolutely for the junior market from retail. We are very, very good at the fabrication. You know, denim is a big secret. The people who make denim actually carry 2 telephones because they don't want anyone to hear their phone call, what will be the new finish, what will be the new color. So we've got our inroads too, so we're very, very good on the fabrication and the folding of denim and sports. This is my real intellectual honey. I started this in the beginning of the 90s. One of the original owners of Mode Information, Heinz Kramer, came to me and said, would you come and make some speeches with us? I said, we like your speeches so much, why don't you make a magazine? So we started Viewpoint together in 1991, 1992, and this is about marketing and design, and we've just revamped it because so many people are doing futurism and blog sites. I didn't want to get into this too much, actually. So we've gone back to product because I think the important thing in life is not so much, it's all about marketing today, and we've forgotten the manufacturer. And I think it's time to re-establish product and manufacturing is just, if not more important, than the branding and the marketing. So now we share this one between product, what to make, how to make it, what colors make it, and then how to bring it to market, how to advertise it, the rest of it. And my beautiful one is a color card. I think it's one of the best-selling color cards in the world. And we do this with Pantone. I also have a website with Pantone where we keep the linking and all about color world. And this is about colors 18 months ahead, but very much a tool book about how colors look and how to use colors. Nothing. You know, it's very easy to be beautiful with color, but we really want to be pragmatic about information. And this brings me back to the relevance of a magazine in today's digital world. Now, everybody thinks analog publishing is dead as a dodo. Actually, it's not true. All things are cyclical. And what's interesting, all the kids your age, or the teachers, the students, actually, they don't want to make websites, they want to make magazines. They all want to make a magazine now. Everybody's back into print. And the other thing is, I've heard some stupid things said about forecasting and trend information and the relevance of it. There is so much information. There are 60,000 fashion sites. But the trouble is, with the more information, the more confused we get. If you manage to build trust, and we've built a lot of trust, we've been publishing for 26 years, and we're about 80% right. That's not bad about trends, because don't forget, I make clothes and sell clothes. So I know what I'm talking about, but I have to carry my ideas through to the marketplace, through to the retail, through to the consumer. Because some people just come up with ideas, then make another idea and another one. But actually, I have to make what I talk about and sell it. So that's a different mentality. So all my conversations with buyers, retail designers, high street, they're all very clever. They're cleverer than me. But what they want most is confirmation. Do you think this is right? You know, they've probably got the right idea, but they want to hear from somebody else. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, you should do that. And what we're about is really not arrogantly telling people, some people want to be told, but saying, this we know is right. And if people say, yes, And I've met people on trains going back to Paris from Premier Vision and saying, oh, we love Textile View. We read it because it gives us, of course, ideas, but above all, it helps us confirm that we're doing the right thing.
I like it too because I studied fashion, and this was the first magazine I bought to research my first collection. Do the magazines go together if you buy them?
Yes, everybody says, how can I do so many things at the same time? And it's like the magazines, they all interlink, they all interslot. And I do not write everything, but I certainly read everything that goes in the magazine. So there's a common denominator. And nothing goes in it without it being considered and saying, is that practical? And one of the things about fashion has been that we're very arrogant. And until the arrival of Salone del Mobile, we thought we were the queen's bees. Everybody followed us. If it was makeup, you followed fashion. If it was furniture, you followed fashion. Then Salone del Mobile came, and everybody left Paris and went to Milan. You couldn't get a hotel room for 30 kilometers in the whole Milan, because everybody was into furniture. And the whole of the 2000s was about furniture, lighting. And that taught us a big lesson, that this world is not locked into castles and that fashion is over here and furniture is over there. And cookery was the first thing that actually broke all the barriers, which is really how trends start, new trends. Cookery went out of its little world of I am using ingredients, and they looked at psychology, they looked at color, and they had these great chefs, Ferren and Blumendahl and the Fat Duck, and they came with new food, cooked with nitrogen, and they shot it with it. So the future is about collaborating, we call it in our latest feature, transdiscipline, which is mixing disciplines. When I was at school, the scientists, they were all a bit weird, a bit like, the imitation game, and all like, no. You say, oh, and none of the girls wanted to go out with scientists. They all wanted to go out with the artists and the language people. Yeah. But now, the new sex, the new future is scientists. And there's no doubt about it. There are new celebrities. That's why all the films about scientists, TV about scientists. And I think technology, they're coming together in fashion. This is going to be the big future. We talked about it, but it's breaking down the walls and mixing disciplines, both architecture, fashion, society. Very exciting future.
I also think that when we look how fast technology grows nowadays, we're not really into using it so much, but I think, or I also read about it, that it will be a huge thing in 20 years. That internet won't be like internet anymore. It will be constantly everywhere, and we won't sense it.
It won't be turning on to internet. It will be coming off internet,
yeah.
which is why you've got all this kind of. But science, I've been talking about science for about 4 years now because I got really fed up with all this nostalgia, repeating the 60s, repeating the 70s. I'm principally agreed with ecology and sustainability and climate problems, but not in a sense that it drags us back like Luddites, back to systems which didn't work. We're very romantic about the past, but the past was not pretty. I mean, if you look at the Victorian times, your ice cream had vermin in and maggots. The child expectancy was 10. Let's look at even the 50s, the 60s. You didn't want to be a woman in the 50s because you were in the kitchen. And you certainly didn't want to be black in the 1950s. So let's get out of this nostalgia. Now, I'm saying about science, too many people have had their heads under the bedclothes. People don't want to hear about it. But while people don't want to hear about science and the future, it's happening all the time. The box is open. So let's talk about nanotechnology. That's just the beginnings of Lego building, taking down molecules, building molecules by molecule, turning wine into water, water into wine, steak into fish. So exciting. But that goes with a whole load of other things. So with the nanotechnology goes the robotics. Yes. Big issue robotics. Now, the first reaction of robotics is ha ha ha. Second reaction is it's going to be just like the agrarian revolution, the industrial revolution, everybody's going to lose their jobs, etc., etc. Now, there will be a huge fallout. But the way I see robotics is not replacing humans, but teaming up with humans. It's going to be partnerships. You're going to work together. Now, remember, when computers came out, and I started in publishing in 1973, there were no faxes, there were no computers, we had typewriters and ink. Everybody said, oh my God, the computers are going to change the world. And they did change the world. They destroyed the print industry in a certain way. But They enabled us to be more creative. In the same way, computers got rid of secretaries in offices. You didn't need a secretary anymore because you write your own, not letters, but emails. So what's going to happen with robotics is it's going to, as computers did to publishing, to photography, to cinematography, it builds in a new level. Robots are going to come in, free up people to use their time in a better way. And people are still important to companies. They're important to robots in terms of keeping them, maintaining them, taking them from place to place. And they're important to companies because people have ideas. And that's important. I don't see robots having ideas yet.
Yes. Actually, Bill Gates said, I think 2 weeks ago, we should be afraid of robots.
Yeah. I'm very surprised about that because, listen, let's talk about singularity. This is a big word. Yes. I haven't seen Jupiter yet, the new Matrix. I can't remember the brothers who made Matrix film. But listen, the future is very, very sexy. I'm afraid I'm too old to see it. I'm really crying because the future is not about replacement. It's not about, we all know in compound leaps that machines are getting more and more intelligent and they will end up more intelligent than us and they will repair themselves and create themselves. We've seen all this theorizing. But remember, we are also going to live longer, right? So not you, you'll probably live to 100 easily. I won't. I drink too much and smoke too much. But your children will probably live to be 120, 140, something like that. That will become the norm, and then without the population. So what will happen is, it won't be a war between machines and humans. There will be a marriage of humans and machines, and it will be a bionic marriage. We've already got computers or machinery which enables us, robotic machinery which enables us to lift 10 times more, jump 4 times higher. It's just the beginning, it's like Stone Age, right? But we will be able to put computer chips inside us. You'll be able to have an orgasm at turn on wish whenever you want. My brain will be connected to the internet, the worldwide net, without a computer. So we'll be like, suddenly there will be a new merging of humans and human machines. Some people put that transhumanism, they put that down to 2046. I think that's a little bit early. But it's certainly going to happen, and we can't stop it. So there's no point fighting it. There's no point putting your head underground. It's a very exciting future, very, very exciting.
Another thing, I read your publisher's view in View Textile. And it was very interesting because the issue was Normcore, and I talked with a lot of people about it, and I read everywhere about it. I read the article of K-Hole in New York. Yeah, the original. And I was like, yeah, I can see that coming. The question is it a phenomenon? Is it a zeitgeist thing, or will it stay?
That's a really good question, and it's very hard to sort of look into the future of fashion these days because it goes faster and faster. I see Normcore working on 2 levels. There is the fashion level, and on the fashion level, purely by the styling. I mean, I don't believe it'll be so simple as 1990s Bill Gates sweatshirts and chinos, because that's too obvious. I think it will be mixed with technology. It's already a luxury look, athleisure, the whole concept of wearing sportswear to the office. It's all about functionality, but it's using expensive fabrics in a luxury way, so it's not really boring and cheap. But there is it's a cyclical thing. We've done a lot of maximalism in fashion. We've had lots of fabulous prints, and digital printing took us into whole new areas, which was so grand and exciting. You know, so much color, so much profusion, so much going on. But it was a normal thing to say, hey, okay, let's cool off. And this cool off thing was led by, of course, Celine and Raf Simons and people like that. So we're in a period now of calming down in fashion, sneaker fashion, what Karl Lagerfeld started. I mean, you might pay $400 for your sneakers, but they're still sneakers. So there's this wish to come off the 12-inch heels into sneakers, functionality, comfort, getting on with it. That will pass because people will get bored with it. It's the whole point of fashion. You get bored, you move on. How long it will last, I'll give it another 6 months. But I think 6 months to a year. But there is a Normcore which is psychological. And you know, the world will never be the same after 2008. And the questions we're still asking are going up and down, rippling through this whole decade until the end of the decade. Not just economically, but emotionally and responsibly. And there's a lot of people it shows itself in the rise of community. It shows itself in the rise of local shopping, local growth. It shows itself in the way of patriotic purchasing, the whole belief in made in. People want comfort. They want security. They want to be surrounded by the normal. They need to feel. We did cocooning in the 90s, you know, and it's that kind of sense but made into the spirit. So there's a genuine, real feeling that I want what I know, what is normal. And that goes with a feeling of transparency. They want more transparency from the businesses. This is not new, we've talked about it. 360-degree companies and sustainability. It all goes together in a driving swell. But let's not get carried away. We all get carried away, but the number of people into this kind of living is only 3 to 5%. They make the headlines, and like the hipsters look great, and they don't look great, and they have great uniform, and I don't know where they're going to go next, but they brought back community, and they brought back local beer, and all very exciting. But the mass of people are still after the Primark business. You know, budget retail, can I get my dress for 10 euro, and I don't look good. So, but it will come deeper and deeper, so we're going to have a growth of Normcore in a sense of moral values, but in the fashion terms, it will turn over and be replaced. Certainly, I think by a return of technology, there'll be a lot of exciting things. The whole wearable technology thing has a long way to go. It's starting with the wristbands and the health and the watch and everything. But that's just the beginning. And once we really get it down into clothing at really cost-affordable levels, it's a whole new future.
Yeah, that's also an issue. The fashion business is really changing because of the retailers going into the luxury market. How do you think will the fashion industry change?
Now, frankly, the business has to, you can't have cheap prices with new fashion every 10 days. It doesn't work. The planning doesn't work that way. You need to lay down your bulk, you need to lay down your quantities, whether you're a weaver or a manufacturer, to make sure you get the price levels down for the icing, which is the high fashion. Now, two things are going to happen in fashion. One is the speed, all right? We all agree with speed, but that will reach its own balance and its own level. The other thing is portability. I'm seeing machines now like printers. You can have your own print office, all right, in machines that are no bigger than this table, and you can start printing collections, plus the whole development of layered development, 3D printing, whatever you want to call it. That's very, very exciting. Clothing is a little bit behind because we need polymers materials, but we've already moved from the polyesters into ceramics, into glass, and I'm sure soon they'll manage it with neoprene and all these kind of things, these polypropylenes and these polyester bits. We will be printing our own garments, so that's very, very exciting when you can design your own wardrobe. What concerns me about the speed, the independence, the do-it-yourself mentality. Everybody thinks they're a great designer. Yes. Everybody thinks they're a great designer. Just as like when we had digital cameras, everybody thought they were Cartier-Bresson, you know? And the trouble is, not everybody is Celine or Stella McCartney or whoever it is. And I'm just scared that the fashion world might look like YouTube, full of cats skating around kitchens. You know, we don't need all that. We need a lot of mediocrity coming. So I think leave it to the professionals, please.
That's something I totally agree, because of blogs and websites and in social media you see everything, and it's sometimes you're really overwhelmed. That's totally. I think we're done here. I'm a really big fan. We all are. I know a lot of people who work with them, and it's really great. Thank you.